What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to more Black Desert. So this is another beginner life skill video, and today what we're going to be doing is sailing. So I think this part, or this section of the life skill, is going to be broken down into 3 different parts, because ocean content is a few different things. 1, it's bartering. 2, you're learning to sail and get materials and do dailies. And then 3 would be Margoria, which is out in the ocean. It's hard to explain a lot of this, but I'm going to try to do my best. So yeah, we're going to do sailing, bartering, Margoria content, which is like sea monsters. And without graphs and stuff that you could look up, it's hard to explain how you do this, because in the ocean, you get it's kind of realistic, where you have currents and like tides, water, waves, and weather, wind. And it doesn't look like much now, but like once you actually get into the ocean, you have all these icons on your screen telling you like which way the wind is blowing and how heavy the waves and stuff are. So that's something I wanted to cover in this sailing section. But today, I just wanted to do some basics on bartering and just like how to get materials, how to like just get started as a beginner sailor. So one thing I would recommend if you are a beginner, it's 2022. Nowadays, you can skip a lot of the process, whereas when you first started, you actually had to make your boats. So what I would start with is, if you are looking into sailing as something that might be fun, or you're just bored of, whatever other thing you're doing, go out, get yourself either sailboat or frigate. Now, I do have a video guide from like 2021 that I should probably do an update at some point, but realistically, sailing hasn't changed. So if you watch my 2021 Carrack guide, it's realistically the same, because sailing hasn't been touched much in, I guess, the past 3 years. So anyway, if you are looking into starting up sailing, bartering, and or just doing dailies, Margoria, ocean content, get yourself either a sailboat and or a frigate. Yes, you might be looking at it and being like, oh, the price difference is a lot. Now, that comes into play when you're going for your Carrack, and there's 4 different kinds of Carracks: the Volante, Valor, Balanced, and Advanced. Advanced and Balanced come from the sailboat, and the frigate is Volante and Valor. Now, the difference is the frigate will upgrade into technically something better, but like all 4 of them are good for their own purpose. So I would say do a little bit of research first and pick out what you enjoy doing in the ocean. So that's a little bit later on, because it does take a few months, I believe, to actually get it, so you have time to prepare. So just do a little bit of research. I'll leave a link in the description to my Carrack video, and so like that one is like an hour-long video. I know that's an hour, but it goes over a lot of the basics: how to get materials for upgrades, what you should do, and like what the different kinds of Carracks are. But in a nutshell, one is Valor is more damage, makes your dailies faster. Volante is speed, makes your boat go faster. Advanced is like a more weight on your ship, so for PvE. And Balance is a mix of all of them, so like jack of all trades kind of thing. So yeah, you have 2 months, don't worry about it. I would personally go frigate route, just because I like it more. Sailboat is more just PvE focused, but I mean, they're all pretty good in their own way. Just figure it out. So yeah, what we're going to be doing today is how I do bartering. And so before we start anything, let's break this up into 2 different sections. So you see these little like 6 out of 6 thingies. Those are what you can do to barter. And like you have X material, you trade it for Y. And then your ultimate goal is to get level 5 materials from level 1. You trade up level 1 to 2 to 3, 4, 5, right? Okay. So, and then ultimately when you have level 5 materials, you trade it for C coins and or you sell it to the vendor for silver. So here's what we're going to be looking at. We're looking at the barter information. And I know there are people with literally hundreds of thousands of barters, but that's literally all they do. After like what, 20,000, that's when you kind of just have everything unlocked. But it's more like the more barters you have, the more Margoria exchanges and barters you have. But that's more like advanced stuff. So obviously just more is better. So ultimately you're going to be looking at this a lot. If you're, I don't know. So if you're looking for money, then you're going to be doing a lot of bartering. If you're just looking to make a character, you're going to be doing a little mix of both of them. Basically, when I did this, I was always like, oh, I'm going to make a character, right? And then I was like, oh, I think I could balance my time between land content and ocean. I would recommend putting or if you start doing sailing, do it on another character that's not your main, because you're going to be in the ocean a lot. And unless you play like 16 hours a day, you're really going to be like focused on one thing. You don't really have time to do both. Well, I mean, you do, but if you're like one goal, you're going to be in the ocean. So yeah, anyway, this is my boat. I have the Valor. We'll go into like sailors and all that stuff in another video because that's like advanced. But we're going to start learning how to barter today. Now that we have an understanding of like what you do, we're going to break this into 2 chunks that what I did. So my main hub is Ilia Island, right? This is where it has all my materials and I could learn or just like gather everything quickly. So I break it up between the Lima Island node and pretend it's like an invisible line going straight down from here, right? So I would consider anything on the left half of it, like the Portaferia side, and anything on the right of the Lima Island is the right side where we do more barters all the way down here. And then Hakaman is where you get fat coins, basically, and you use that to trade up for stuff. So when you're first learning to barter, you're gonna want to upgrade boat gear, and green boat gear is actually really easy. If it's not 100%, then it's really high chance to just upgrade. Right, so let me show you how in general this would work. I don't even know what materials I have. Let's start with level 1s. What material looks easy to get? I have no idea. What do I actually need, by the way? That might actually be more helpful if I figured out what I needed. Do I need... opal thingies? Let's actually start with the beginner ones. Like, these are the ones where you trade up level 1 toys for level 2. Let's just actually do that. Okay, so let's see. We need Roa flower seeds, raft toys. It's like playing Dora the Explorer. You have shapes and colors. You'll figure it out eventually. Flower seeds, raft toys, and canned naval rations. Now, keep in mind, you cannot go over the weight limit, otherwise your boat is so slow. So just, you're gonna have to do some basic math, basically, and then you'll figure it out. So 2 of these, 2 can thingies, and 2, wait. 2. I don't even think I have Rowuff. I don't even think I have anymore. Wool. Yeah, there's 0 shot. I'm buying like 12 million silver worth of wool for a row of flower seeds. Okay, so anyway. So let's assume you have your boat, whatever it is, right? Whether you have a frigate or a sailboat, obviously it's not going to be as fast. You're going to work on sailors eventually. So now that you have your materials, let's go down here. So you could, okay, you could do that. And one thing in the advanced guide I'm probably going to teach you is unfolded and folded for your sail, and what that actually means, along with the wind and currents, and how like you see the arrows flying out. So that might be in a different video, like a more, well, it's just going to be overwhelming if I hit you with all the knowledge at once. So let's just say this is a beginner barter guide, and then we'll do the advanced one in Margoria a little bit later. So, and then we'll do like all the how to do the dailies, how to like do the daily routes, how to maneuver and actually work your boat. So one thing I could teach you, if you want to look backwards without like having to move your boat around. So for example, if you want to look behind you like this, you hold your middle mouse button and then you turn your camera. If you don't hold your middle mouse button, this is what's going to happen. You're going to turn around, and so is your boat. So you don't want that. Middle mouse button, hold it down, turn behind. You go still going straight. Took me a while to figure that out. So yeah, so let's say we're going to the first spot now. We're going to trade up level 1 materials for level 2. And then if you click the icon right here, it shows you, let's say you have the level 2 ones, right? Then you could go, you click it, and it goes to level 3. And then you go to level 3, you click it, goes to 4, 4 to 5, right? Easy. So that's bartering in a nutshell. But if you're not in Margoria, which is, I guess you would say, this is the Aquila's Eye area. If you go past this invisible line right here, like let's just assume from here, anything going forward is Margoria, right? Now, what happens when you go to Margoria? Why is it so difficult? It's because you don't have a map, and it's kind of like being in the desert, but in the ocean, where you, unless you have a compass, you don't really know where you are. There are like little tricks I could teach you. I guess we'll do it in the advanced guide on how to navigate without a compass. It's always better to just have a compass, to be honest. But if you are lost, or for some reason the compass thingies are sold off on the market and they have 0, the combined 3 of them should always, I'd recommend having these. Let me just buy them. Cool. I don't need it right now, but in the case I do. So anyway, we're going to be doing a little bit of basic bartering to just give you an idea. And then ideally your end goal is to either get level 5 materials and or get sea coins, which you turn the sea coins into items that you can sell on the market. And if you do a full set of bartering, which is like, I would say, when I say full set, I mean you're doing all your refreshes daily, you could probably make a little under 1 billion silver, but it is on a timer, which means that like you can only refresh like once every 4 hour like cooldown. You could force it, but you have a total of 150 points daily. And if you don't refresh, then you could do a total of 4 barters or 4 resets a day, 2 ship materials and 2 trade items. Now, back in the day, they didn't really have trade item barters or ship materials, and what that one is for is mostly for if you're going for a carrack or upgrading your sailboat. So they made it a lot easier over the past years, whereas it used to be more of a grind. Now it just helps you out with the daily materials. So for example, instead of it taking you 3 months to do, it'll now take you like literally half the time. So basically that's a good change. It doesn't make it technically difficulty easier, it just cuts the time it takes in general in half. All right, so now that we have a basic understanding of how bartering works, we have conch shells and black flags. What do we... Okay, let's go turn these conch shells over there. So this is basically bartering in a nutshell. I think everyone understands the concept of trade up level 1 to level 2 to level 3, 4, and 5. Then you turn to 5s. So here's how it works. Once you get level 5s, I guess I don't know why they call it white to orange. I wish they would just use the actual term like level 1 to 5 or one to the other. So let's say you have all level 5s now, right? What do you do with these and what are they for? Now you have level 5s. You could sell them to the vendor for 5 million silver each, and over time each barter route probably will net you about like maybe 100 million depending on how many trade routes you have. Or in an advanced video we'll do, it'll take you to Margoria. So you could take these and use the level 5 materials, and it goes into the Hakoven Island route, or all of these right here, they're in the ocean. So, like, by ocean, I mean Margoria. So let's say you have your level 5 materials, right? You can go down this twisty, windy path, and you see how you could change these level 5s for crow coins? Yeah, you just keep doing that daily. It's kind of tedious, actually. It's honestly, sailing and bartering is really like an AFK activity. Like, let's say you're watching a movie or something on your other monitor, or just doing something else, right? You kind of have it auto path, and then once you hit the target, trade, set it to the next auto path, and then continue watching your movie. So it is a little bit of management, but it is mostly like an AFK activity. Once you're in the ocean, you kind of have to pay a little bit more of attention because there are no auto paths there. So if you're just doing basic beginner stuff, by all means, it's like you don't even really have to worry about any threats of sea monsters attacking you. You don't have to watch for any like hazards, which are like whirlpools and tornadoes in the ocean. That'll all be advanced stuff, but even then, it's not really that bad. If you just look at where you're going, it's pretty easy to avoid it. So yeah, that's mostly bartering, but then I'm gonna show you once we get our stuff, what we're gonna do is go down to Lima Island and show you what kind of materials you can trade for and some other things. But this is mostly just a beginner one. I purposefully left out a lot of stuff that we'll cover in another video just so I don't overwhelm you, because you're gonna be like, well, level 1 to 5 crow coins, buy stuff, materials. That's a lot of information. There is somewhere on the internet some spreadsheet that like the sailing Discord made. It's like, it's funny because it's very information, like, what is the word, like informative, but the spreadsheet is like 96 pages, and you're just like, that's a lot of information. It gives you a lot of nonsense and a lot of good information. So my goal is to summarize a lot of that in a video, because some people are more visual learners, and if I just did it once, it would make more sense than reading like a 96-page Google sheet. And to be honest, I didn't really even read the entire thing. I just looked at what I wanted, because by the point of me looking at the spreadsheet, I kind of had an idea of what I wanted. I was going for the Carrack. I was just reading up on like what kind of materials I wanted and how to get them easiest. Do I need marine helmets? Sorta, I guess. So basically, you want to make sure you have, I would say, 4 of every material you can. If you run low, just try to barter for it, and it's make sure you have a lot of extra stock, because every time you go out into the ocean, you're probably going to need something random every day. Just figure out what you need, try to make sure you have a decent stock of it, and you're good. So obviously you can technically these days infinite barter. Well, I would say infinite, but it does take okay, so let me show you. So these things, these crows trade vouchers, and the way you the way you get it is if you have the loot scrolls, or the item loot scrolls, right? Everyone should have these. If you have a value pack, you get one every day. And they just kind of give you literally hundreds of them from events. So unless you grind a lot, and you could turn these in by like manufacturing the loot scrolls into parley, which is, I guess I forgot to explain. Parley is the number of points you have. You get 1 million per barter refresh. It requires points for every exchange, and once you go through 1 million, you're out. And how you recover it is you use these crow trade vouchers, right? So before, back in the day, you had to be strategic on how you used your million parley, because there was 0 shot you would get everything. And even nowadays, I would recommend, it's not really worth it to use all the million unless there's something very specific that you need, or you're just trying to, like, if your goal is literally max barters and you're literally clearing out the entire shop or exchange list every day and you're just trying to pump numbers, then that's good. But other than that, like, it's probably going to take you actually all 4 hours to clear out shop or the exchange. Well, actually, no. It depends what you're doing, because some are more expensive than the others. So if you're in the ocean or like Margoria, it costs more to exchange higher level stuff than it is like level 1 to level 2 materials, right? Or whatever. So yeah, so level 5 to crow coins, because these are like the end game materials you're going for. Just know you're gonna have to balance your parley a little bit, but ultimately it's not really even a big deal anymore. So hold up, let me see. I have 8,000. It'll warn you if you're gonna go overboard, and just in case you are wondering, since there's 6 exchanges, 0 shot, I'm getting that. So luckily, make sure your weight just doesn't go over your total. All right, so now that we have that, we can actually go here. It's actually close by. I figured usually I like to split them up between left route or right route in the beginning, but just for like demonstration's sake, I'll do it. But usually it is better to split it up between like halves, just so you don't go one exchange all the way like over here. I've had this happen before too. Like, let's say you're over here. This is like, I would say, one of the farthest spots you can go for the right route, and then it's the next year barter for the exchange is literally on the other opposite route, which is actually kind of annoying. It's rare that that happens where it's from far left to far right, but it does happen every now and then. And usually when that happens, what do? I just skip it and just go to the next route. So yeah, there's that. I think next video, what we're going to be doing is showing you how to do ocean dailies and how to go like defeat sea monsters. Okay, let me check guild missions. Do we have? All right, we'll take that for demonstrations in our next video. Just watch some dude fail like a TED attempt. Like, what in the world? Man just failed TED like 16 times in a row. I would make an enhancing guide as well, but man, numbers are hard, and I could just tell you what I do, Mine is not min-max. There's a lot of streamers that do min-max enhancing a lot better, but for me, just like, I have general numbers and breakpoints, but if you're thinking like, hey, what fail stack do I use for 10 black star? I'm just literally the highest stack you have, preferably above like a 200, but literally the highest one you have. So yeah, we're almost to this spot, and we'll do the sea monsters one a little bit after. We're actually coming up to about 10,000 barters, and I think it's not 10,000 exactly, but like a little past 10,000. You get the next route unlocked in Margoria. So, for example, right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, technically 8 routes. And what does that mean? You see this, like, you see this square, like these little icons right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The more barters you have, the more routes you have open for exchanges. It is kind of tricky too, because you really need to have like weight on your gear. So in terms of priority gear, what you should get, I would honestly say the cannon is always number one, no matter what kind of boat you have, because not only will it make your dailies easier, because when you're killing sea monsters, like, yeah, it'll just make it easier. It also gives weight limit. So aside from that, weight limit and damage is like your high priority exchanges for gear. Enhancing non-Carrack gear is not that bad. You'd enhance it just like the same way you would enhance boss gear for Tet. Exploring and supply, literally the most irrelevant thing, I think. So you could get cool stuff. Ooh, pirate ship. No survivors. I'll teach you how to do boat combat in the future. Well, I don't think I've ever gotten that before. I don't think I've ever done that before either. Well, anyway, so to wrap this all up, I guess for this video, I was gonna go to Lima Island, but there's an NPC, Ravinia, right there, and she's the person you trade sea coins to for various goods, like I don't know, boat material upgrades and whatnot. So if you ever need various things, make sure to go there, especially for boat gear and the materials later on. That's pretty important. But yeah, I think you got a general idea of how bartering works from level 1. We got some level 5s. What do I do with these level 5s? If you're unsure, like, what can you make with them, just look in your barter log and then say here. And yeah, so this one would be for the island. You can click this button right here and you figure out what the exchange for them would be. So there is I think there are some people that min-maxed it and put out basically how much does 1 crow coin cost in terms of silver. And the way we look at it is 2,500 coins is based on, you could buy a Monos accessory, right? Now, we basically look at this price and convert it. Is it 2,500 sea coins is worth this amount in a Monos accessory? So right now, I think it's kind of low, so sea coin value is not that high, so not like it really matters, because you don't have to sell it immediately. Eventually, when events happen, the Monos accessory prices go up and down, so keep that in mind. A lot of things are either on daily or weekly buy rates, so that's one of those math thingies. You're gonna have to figure it out on your own time, but basically that's bartering in a nutshell. Figure out how you go from like level 1 to 5. I think we're going to be making another video or two of sailing. The next video, what we're going to be doing is going into the ocean, and I'm going to try to teach you some ocean routes and how to do sea monsters. But for right now, thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.